The 2025 NFL draft ended about a month ago, and we're working on finishing up our NFL draft grades. Today, we got the NFC South. We got one more to go, and it's the AFC North. You'll see that later this week. Let's kick it off with the Carolina Panthers. At number 8 overall, they took Tetaroa McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona. I'm going to give that an A. I absolutely love Tet. I think it's great value, and I think it's exactly what they needed to pair with Xavier Legette. At round 2, pick 19, they got Nick Scorton, the edge out of Texas A&M. I'm going to give that a B+. Love the value. I think he's a great fit for this team. He's going to be a good pass rusher for him. I have no doubt. Round 3, pick 13, I got a guy he's my guy, man. Princely Umanmielen, the edge out of Ole Miss, former Gator. I gave that an A+. He's one of the very few, if not the only A+ grades I handed out this year. I absolutely love Princely. I had him as the number 31 player. I think it was on my big board. I'm betting on him. And I think the Panthers got a fantastic steal here in the 3rd round. He's going to be a true edge rusher. He already has like advanced moves, which is what I love, and he doesn't have the burst of like a James Pierce, but I think he's more refined. And I think he actually has a little more bend than James Pierce, which is why I liked him a little bit more. I think Princely is going to be a steal. I hope I'm right on this one because I absolutely love the guy and I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. Round 4, pick 12, they took Trevor Etienne, the halfback out of Georgia. I'm going to give that a good value. I had him right at the tail end of the 3rd round, so they got a little bit of positive value here out of this pick. Round 4, pick 20, they took Lathan Ransom, the safety out of Ohio State. I'm okay with that. That's good value. Okay value, no issues. Round 5, pick 2, they took my guy Cam Jackson, the defensive tackle or nose tackle out of Florida. That's okay value because that's where I had him, but I do like the pick, and I think he's going to be able to play in the middle of this defense on rundowns. And I actually think he could have a little bit of upside as a pass rusher. He'll never be elite or anything, but I think he could work himself to be able to maybe stay out there on occasion. Round 5, pick 27, they took Mitchell Evans, the tight end out of Notre Dame. That's okay for me. I actually thought I would like him more than I did. This is the range he ended up in. It's, they got a little bit of value, but not enough for me to call it good. Round 6, pick 32, they took Jimmy Horn Jr., the wide receiver out of Colorado. I like that pick, but I am going to only give it okay value. Overall, the Panthers had a good draft. I'm going to give them an A, and I think they did a really good job. I think they improved their team. They were probably my closest team to getting an A+, just because I love the Princely pick. I like the Tet pick. They got good value in the, day 3 of the draft. Nick Scorton was good. They had no negatives. I almost gave them an A+. The only thing that held me back from doing it is I think an A+ is almost impossible to achieve for me. It's going to be a very rare thing. If they'd have gotten a steal on day 3, I probably would have bumped it up. I think an A, but this is like very borderline to getting to an A+. I absolutely love this class. Moving on here, the New Orleans Saints are up next. At round 1, pick 9, they took Calvin Banks Jr., the tackle out of Texas. That's a B for me. I have no issues with it. It's a little earlier than I had him, but I do understand taking a tackle at this spot. I'm not going to knock it, but I'm not going to give him any extra kudos for doing it. Round 2, pick 8, they probably took their quarterback of the future now that Derek Carr's retired, in Tyler Shuck, the quarterback out of Louisville. I had him at the end of round 2. And with his age, I am going to give it a B-. If he was younger, I probably would have given it a B. It's just his age does concern me a little bit. And I think when you're 26 years old, you can't overdraft him on potential or just because they're a quarterback. And that's just my personal opinion. The age really scares me with him. If he was younger, he'd had a much higher grade, but I couldn't be aggressive in his upside with his age. There's not a track record of them guys working out, honestly. Round 3, pick 7, they took Vernon Broughton, the IDL out of Texas. That's a B for me. I don't hate the pick. I actually like Broughton. I think it was pretty good value. Round 3, pick 29, they took Jonas Sanker, the safety out of Virginia. That's a C for me. I had a day 3 grade on him. Bottom of the 4th round. I was not as high on Jonas Sanker. There were some people that had him inside of their top 100. I definitely couldn't get there with him. Round 4, pick 10, they took Danny Stutzman, the linebacker out of Oklahoma. I'm okay with that. That's good value. That's right in the range I had him. Round 4, pick 29, they took Quincy Riley, the corner out of Louisville. That's okay value. Also taken right in the range I had him, so I have no issues with it. Devin Neal, the halfback out of Kansas. That's a steal for me. I absolutely love that at round 6, pick 8. I had him as like a round 4 guy. I think he's fantastic. He might even been round 3, honestly. I love Neal. I know he's not the fastest guy or the most athletic guy, but I think he has some upside in his game. At round 7, pick 32, they took Maliki Mataavu, the tight end out of UCLA. Did not finish his tape, so I gave that okay value. I think it probably could have been a good, but because I didn't finish it, I'm not going to boost up his grade. That's just not the way I do it. Round 7, pick 38, they took Fadil Diggs, the edge out of Syracuse. He's another guy that I had like a 5th round grade on, but I never got back to finishing his tape. I was running behind all year, so I'm going to give that okay value as well, but he's another guy that I think could potentially have been a better choice. Overall, I like the draft. It got a B. That's good value throughout. There were some B minuses, some C's, or C's, and the steal of Devin Neal really helped boost it back up to a B. Overall, I'm comfortable with what they did. Overall, I think it's a pretty good draft for Kellen Moore, and I hope it can lay the foundation for him to be successful in the future with this team. They need a lot of work, and these picks need to work. I'm just a little worried about Shuck. we'll have to see what happens there. Let's go ahead and move on to the next team, and that's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. They picked at number 15 overall Jalen Walker, the edge out of Georgia. That's a B minus for me. Don't love the pick. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a Jalen Walker guy. I was more of an end of first round. I think he ended up like 25 on my big board, but didn't hate it, understand it. This next pick's complicated. It's round 1, pick 26. They took James Pierce Jr., the edge out of Tennessee. That's a D. Not often do I include what they did in the trade, but here I just couldn't ignore it, man. I really hated their trade to go get him. The pick before, they didn't give up a future one, and Atlanta went ahead and just said, let's do that anyway. I think it was a terrible decision. I don't think James Pierce is worth that much value. It almost never works out. He's kind of a head case, and I was lower on him in general. I had him in the 30s on my big board. So this just feels like a massive reach to me. And, you know, they're desperate for edge rushers. They better hope one of them works out. And to me, they took two of the riskier guys in this class. I understand, there's actually a lot of risk in this class, but Jalen Walker being undersized, and then James Pierce has a lot of the tools you're looking for. He's rail thin, though, which really worries me. He has, like I said, he's kind of a head case. And then they gave up a lot of value to go get him. At least that's what you hear. I don't know the guy. I'm not judging him on a personal level. I'm just going off of what I heard. I heard he was difficult to deal with. I heard he didn't do well in meetings. I don't love this. So it's a D. The pick that might save their class is Xavier Watts, the safety out of Notre Dame. I did have a round 3 grade on him, but it was early round 3. I gave this an A minus. I really liked the selection. I wasn't a round 2 guy for Watts. I didn't think the value was there, but I think at round 3, pick 32, fantastic value, good job. Round 4, pick 16, they took Billy Bowman Jr., the safety out of Oklahoma. That's a steal. I had him as like the number 64 player in this class. I really like Billy Bowman. I know he's undersized. I just love his tape, and I'm trusting that he's a good player, and sometimes just good players translate as safety. Being a good player is good enough because you can react and your natural instincts can get you in good position. Some people didn't love his tackling. I was okay with it. I didn't see the issues. Round 7, pick 2, they took Jack Nelson, tackle out of Wisconsin. Didn't finish his tape. I'm going to say that's okay value. No issue there. Overall, the Falcons, I gave a C+. I definitely wanted to drop this grade a lot more, but I like the Watts and Bowman pick. And, as much as I don't like it, I do kind of get their process. I just, I settled on a C+, and even I still don't even feel good about that now. But that's the grade I gave him, and that's the grade I'm going to stick with. Now on to my favorite team in this division. They're my second favorite team in the NFL. I root for the Bucks. I'm a Bucks ticket holder, or I was. This season we're actually not renewing because of our daughter. We got Emeka Egbuka at round 1, pick 19, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. I had him a little lower. I'm going to give that a B minus. I get the pick. Don't absolutely love it. I understand our receiving core is aging, and with a guy like Baker, you want to keep playmakers around him, and Emeka's a good, smooth player without a lot of weaknesses. I just don't know if he has the tools to be an elite wide receiver. So I don't know that I love it, but I do understand the pick. So I gave that a B minus. Round 2, pick 21, they took Ben Morrison, the corner out of Notre Dame. That's a B plus. If he didn't have an injured hip, that'd be an A plus. But if he didn't have an injured hip, I don't even think he's there at pick 19. I love Benjamin Morris, but that injury is really scary. It's a second time dealing with a hip injury. You just have to worry about the young man and what kind of career he's going to have and how big of an impact it's going to be. But a B plus is totally fair in my opinion. Round 3, pick 20, Jacob Parrish, the corner out of Kansas State. Undersized, but I love this guy. I gave this a B. It was right in the range I had him. He was like number 75-ish on my big board. Loved it. Great value. I think he's going to be a really good corner. He's going to fit well with Todd Bowles. Round 4, pick 19, they got David Walker, the edge out of Central Arkansas. Not going to give this a steal like some other people. I think it's a good value. Don't love it. I'm a little lower on David Walker. I do have a lot of concerns about how he's going to translate to the next level. He seems to have good pass rushing moves, but he never played at a high level. He seemed to avoid going up to the highest level, even though he had the production that would have made you think he could have. And I just think it's because he knows he would have been a little exposed with his natural limitations that come from his size. He has shorter arms. He doesn't have a great build. I just don't think it would have translated. He realizes it, and I'm a little worried that this isn't a great pick, but I'm going to give it good value because I do understand he's a good player. Round 5, pick 21, they took Elijah Roberts, the edge out of SMU. That's okay. Don't hate the pick. That's kind of a throwaway pick for me. It might work out. He's going to be a depth if it does. I like the idea of taking a shot on Tez Johnson at round 7, pick 19. I'm going to give that good value. I had him as a round 5 guy. Can't give it a steal because I have a lot of concerns. The wide receiver out of Oregon, by the way. I do have a lot of concerns about him, which is why I can't give this a steal. The speed with the size combination really bugs me, especially at that weight. I just have a lot of concern about how that's going to translate to the NFL. He was able to create separation in college. It was never an issue, and I had no doubt he was going to be faster than what he ran. And then when he ran that, I was stunned. I didn't love his tape beforehand. I had him as like a 4th round guy before. So a lot of people were in the 3rd round. I had him at like the beginning of the 4th round. And then once he ran that time paired with his weight, I was like, I can't do it. Like, I don't buy this combination. So I dropped him to like the bottom of the fifth round to sixth round, and getting him at round seven, pick 19 is good value. I think it's a good shot to take late in the draft. And I also got to mention here with the Bucks, I don't mention a lot of undrafted signings. I love the signing of Desmond Watson taking a dart throw on the big man D tackle out of Florida. I really hope it works out. I love him, big fan, Gator fan. So I'm rooting for the kid. He's lost some weight, and I'm hoping he can keep it under control and let his natural gifts show, because he is a beast. You know, he's not going to be a pass rusher, but you get him out there on rundowns, I think he could make an impact. He'll be a role player in the NFL, but if it works out, man, you're going to get a good one. And then I also think Shiloh Sanders is a decent grab. You know, he's got a lot of leadership, they say, and we'll see if it works out. But Desmond Watson's the guy I'm really excited about. Overall, I got to give the Bucks a B plus, and I love their class. I think they did a good job. Sure, Emeka Ibuka, a little early, little question about the upside there for me. But I think in this class, otherwise, they did a good job. They didn't really miss. They didn't reach on anything. They took the players that got there, and they got good players. And I think they have some upside and some guys that, you know, it could work out. David Walker, Tez Johnson, Ben Morrison could be a top 15 guy in this class if he didn't get hurt. If he gets back to that form and stays healthy, that's a steal in the second round. Like, you can't argue with that. I think a B plus is totally fair. You guys let me know how you feel about the Bucks draft class down in the comments, or any of the other draft classes in the NFC South. I'd love to hear how you feel about my grades for them. You know, whether it's your favorite team or a team you hate, tell me what you think. Tell me where I'm wrong. I want to hear your opinions. I want to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Like I said, we'll be back with the AFC North, which is the final one soon. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm out.